Okay. So, what would happen if my boy here, the Donald, got impeached? Then we'd have President Pence. A racist, sexist, xenophobe, which sounds, a lot like the person who's currently sitting in the Oval Office. However, I'm not even entirely sure he's still alive because he keeps his fucking mouth shut. So, I guess that's a little bit better. He's not an idiot. He would continue to try and fuck poor people and women over, as Trump has done so far. But he wouldn't create World War III with a tweet. Really is, that's what Mike Pence has over Donald Trump. But if he's not complicit in the Russia stuff, but just found even guilty by association and ruled unfit to have office, then we'd have President Two First Names, Paul Ryan, who said that he was not going to be the Speaker of the House, and ended up being the Speaker of the House and would be next in line, and hated Trump, was one of his most outspoken people against him, and then did a complete 180 and now loves everything Trump does. After that, I'm just gonna go down the list. I'm not gonna get too much into fucking everybody. Just Google them if you don't know who they are. But we'd have Orrin Hatch. Not a great option either. Say he gets removed. Then we have Rex Tillerson. Yeah, he clearly doesn't have a shit ton to gain by having access to Russia. Well, I'm stupid and I forgot to clear out my memory card, so welcome back again. So yeah, after Orrin Hatch would be Rex Tillerson, who, you know, has nothing to gain from access to Russian oil at all whatsoever. Nope, that wouldn't happen. After him, we'd have President Stephen Munchin. Stephen Munchin. I'm just gonna call him that. Also a dick. And if he got removed, then we'd have President Mad Dog. James Mattis. Granted, I think Eisenhower had a stupid name now that I think of it. Maybe it was Lyndon Johnson. After that, President Jeff Sessions. Alright, so I think at this point, you get that as you go down the line, the options really don't get any better whatsoever. But let's just say that Trump is impeached and removed from office. Mike Pence has no ties and becomes the president. What can we expect under President Mike Pence? Well, basically all the same shit that Trump wants, except a wall. So, you know, there's $25-30 billion back in taxpayers' pockets, which isn't ideal, but honestly, it's slightly better than Trump. He'd still probably push for the AHCA, which will just only benefit people who make more than $250 to $1,000 a year, which is a very small portion of the population. And so you still have a bunch of stupid morons supporting a bill that's not going to help them in any way, but just fuck over pregnant women, poor people, elderly people, basically is just signing a death warrant for a couple million people. And also the fact that Republicans don't support abortion, even for rape victims, and the AHCA, on top of it, will put all the medical bills as their burden. So, like, no, you're not allowed to not have that kid, and also all the medical things that you're going to have to go through to have that kid, you're going to have to pay for. Does that sound reasonable to you? If so, you're a fucking psychopath and a goddamn monster. So, go fuck yourself if that's a thing that you like. 'Cause that's what the current bill has in it. Anyway. Mike Pence, though, can keep his mouth fucking shut. And won't cause World War III because of a tweet. So, I've spoken to many conservatives online, not in person. Every conservative I know in person who's a Trump supporter has either just not said anything on the subject or continued to be a blatant Trump supporter despite being shown completely true evidence, which is what the Russian guy was talking about. Stupid liberals and their fucking propaganda, right? But I've spoken to quite a few online who said that they will vote for the Republican candidate in 2020, but they're voting blue in 2018 for the midterm election. So, it's not ideal, but literally the most likely outcome and probably most possible solution is damage control, where Pence becomes president. In an effort to save his party, he doesn't really push too many controversial bills, and then in 2019, the 2018 election, the midterm, we end up with a Democratic House and Senate, and they basically just shut the government down altogether for 2 years. It's a shitty outcome, but it's probably the best option that we have right now. Damn it. I lost my train of thought. Okay, I got it back. So, there'd have to be amendments made to the Constitution, because there's no legal precedent if anybody connected to the Trump administration ends up being like complicit and guilty by association and unfit to have office. There's no precedent for having like a second election again. What most likely will happen if Trump is removed from office, it's because he'll be brought up to impeachment for obstruction of justice charges, which is the same thing that happened to Clinton and Nixon, which Nixon was never impeached because he just backed the fuck out before that could happen. But he was going to be... But yeah, so most likely the Trump presidency, if it ends, won't actually be for like treason charges or anything like that. He'd probably be impeached and removed from office, and Mike Pence would take over, and then maybe later investigations would lead to other members of the GOP having to resign or maybe go to jail. The scariest thing, though, the worst possible outcome here is that, I love you, Cancer. The worst outcome is that Trump cannot fire the special investigator, Robert Mueller, Mueller, whatever, how the fuck he pronounces it, himself. But he can command his Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, to do it, and seeing as Jeff Sessions recommended Trump fire Comey, that's not out of the question. And in that case, they could just sweep this whole thing under the rug and Trump could remain president and have no investigation against him. Like, that's a thing that he can do, and Republicans control the presidency, the House, the Senate, and the Supreme Court right now. So, it's possible that that could happen. But even then, if Sessions doesn't do it, Rosenstein would take over if Trump fired Sessions, and Rosenstein, whatever, would definitely not fire Mueller. So Trump could fire Rosenstein, though, and then just hire a yes man for Attorney General who would do whatever he says. So that's the worst case scenario. That this administration could just sweep this whole thing under the rug and not allow any sort of investigation to continue. And that's a scary point. And Bernie Sanders brought up back in, I want to say like November or December, that with Trump with Republicans having control of all the branches of government right now, they could actually even change the laws that the president can't serve more than 4 years without being reelected. So, like, literally, worst case scenario, and legally, we're on the path to a dictatorship. So let that sink in for a minute. Trump supporters, even. Is that what you want? Just Trump forever? Till he dies in the White House? You really like what he's doing? Because, 220 cities are fucking losing passenger railroad access, and it's going to fuck over the infrastructure under the administration. All cities in the South and Midwest in red states. Every single city is in a red state. Like, he's fucking you, Trump supporters. Just know that. This whole thing is such a fucking shit show. And so getting back to Mike Pence, yeah, he's a piece of shit. But he's not a moron. And at least a Mike Pence presidency wouldn't have as many global repercussions as a continuing Trump presidency would. So that's probably and realistically the best option at this point. I mean, I guess that's just my opinion, but my opinion is based on fucking hundreds of hours of reading into politics and the actions of this administration. So I'm not just like pulling shit out of my ass. I guess I don't know really what else to say. If I think of something else, I'll record another part, but for now I think I'm done, and I'm just gonna turn these lights off so I can stop fucking sweating and fucking edit this. Got my buddy Trump behind me here, I'm sure, in the final cut of whatever happens. And thanks for watching if you got this far. Fucking leave a comment if you want to yell at me, if you want to agree with me. Add me on Facebook if you want to yell at me and or agree with me. That's what the point of this was. Really. I need a fucking drink and a cigarette, and I'm already smoking a cigarette, and I'm like, I need a cigarette. So, yeah, that's how kind of upset I am on this whole situation. And I feel that A lot of people are. Oh. And, yeah, if you are upset, fucking do whatever you can about it. Fucking talk to your coworkers and friends and parents or whatever about it. Like, let them know. Like, just start a conversation. That's... You can send letters to your senator and shit, but they're never gonna fucking read them. They're just gonna assume there's anthrax in them and shit and throw them away. The best way to really make change, honestly, the one thing I like about social media is that there's a conversation to be had. And don't spread bullshit fake posts like the top 10 things we learned today from the fucking Comey testimony, which are all false. Have a legit conversation and be open-minded about it. Like, don't feel that, like, I'm right and nothing you can do or say will change that. It's counterproductive. Like, if you're a Trump supporter, fine, but at least fucking open your mind. If you're a Hillary supporter, I also probably don't like you, but just fucking have an open mind and be like, well, you know, there's some things that the Republicans are maybe right about. Like, the whole us versus them mentality in fucking politics, we're one of the few countries that only have two parties. Most countries, especially first world countries, have at least 3 or 4 parties where there's at least a left, a center, and a right party going on. And even, like, Obama in a lot of European countries would be considered right-leaning. Like, our country, like, our version of center is still, like, a decent amount to right. Just fucking think and talk and be open-minded and, like, read more than one sentence on a fucking Facebook or fucking Instagram post or a tweet. Like, you can't possibly define geopolitics in under 140 characters. Like, please, that's all I ask. And I'm just a fucking nobody, but it affects all of us. Trump's actions have global consequences. I'm not even just speaking fucking people in the US. So, you know, if you're a non-US person watching this, I don't know why the fuck you're watching this, because I don't think I actually know anybody outside the US. But, yeah, I guess that's it. It's like a weird motivational speech that you'd expect in like a fucking sports movie or something. Alright, well, if you got this far, thanks for watching. Any of my other videos you watched, thanks for watching as well. You know, like, comment, subscribe, share it, fucking... that bullshit. It'll help me out, but honestly, I do this because I want to. I'm not doing it for the exposure or the money or anything, so... yeah, that's all I have to say. Alright, bye.